Hi there everyone, my name's Danielle Irizarry, and the book I chose for my modern fantasy assignment was The Magic School Bus Inside the Human Body by Joanna and Bruce Degen. And the reason I chose a Magic School Bus book for my assignment is because I personally love the Magic School Bus series. There's so many different ones to choose from. The characters in them are great, the adventures they go on are a lot of fun, and there's so much to learn, whether you're just simply looking at the illustrations or you're reading it for the text. I think it's an excellent component to have in any classroom library. So I'll be covering this one today. And when evaluating modern fantasy, there are 5 criteria that should be met, which are setting, plot, characters, style, and theme. So I'll just be going through and covering each of those 5 criteria and explaining how this book meets them all and can be considered a modern fantasy book. So starting with the setting, a setting of a modern fantasy book should be detailed and believable while still being a fantasy world. So in the beginning, it's very believable. It's simply a classroom where the students are told that they'll be going on a field trip and learning about the body. But everyone who knows Miss Frizzle knows it doesn't stay that way for long, and they actually end up being digested by one of the characters in the story, and it explains their trip through the body. So the setting moves from a classroom to inside the body of the child. So it is really detailed and believable that they're actually inside the body, which is obviously fantasy, so it meets that criteria first. The plot of a modern fantasy story should be imaginative while also being logical. So, like I said before, they are digested, so the plot does get a little silly, but they don't jump around in the body. They're digested like food would, and they explain each step of the process as it goes. So the plot is covered excellently in the book for a fantasy and is explained well by the story. The characters in a modern fantasy behave logically and consistently, and each of the characters in the book, including Miss Frizzle, you can always tell they're different personalities, and they don't change their personalities throughout it. They act like kids do throughout the book, with little comments like, "Where's the bus? Do you think we'll be smarter after this, after landing on the brain?" So you can tell that they're students and that other students can relate to them, which I think is excellent. The style of a modern fantasy story should consist of an established setting, rich dialogue between characters, and clear structure from beginning to end, which this book does well. From the beginning when they're swallowed by Arnold to the end where they go throughout the body and are sneezed out by Arnold, the characters behave consistently. The setting has been established in a way that the students are able to follow well, and there is rich dialogue between all the characters. Miss Frizzle is telling all the students what's going on, and the students are learning a lot on their field trip. And lastly, the theme. The theme in a modern fantasy story should consist of universal struggles, values, and emotions, which help the reader to keep an open mind. So I think this is covered well because Arnold in the story is kind of shy and laid back, and he ends up getting upset over his lunch, which when students are reading this, they'll be able to kind of relate to. And he always is kind of like that, kind of pessimistic in the story, a little upset, and that is his struggle in the story. And then he ends up eating the class, which is not a universal struggle, but I think it covers the whole concept of digesting and the way the body works well, and the students are able to relate to that and eating food and seeing how it goes through the body without just simply informational text. So overall, this book meets the 5 components of modern fantasy literature, and I think it does it in a way that's fun and exciting, and the students would really enjoy reading, because I enjoyed reading it, and I'm a little older than the students this is typically aimed for. But overall, I think it does a great job, and I personally like it, and like I said before, I think it's a great addition to any classroom library. Thank you.